So for the Holiday Baking Championship, we asked the bakers to take the Yule log, the bûche de Noël, someplace new and unique. When I think about cakes that have a long tradition, the first thing I do is think about making them in a non-traditional way. That's why sometimes I head to my shop, Charm City Cakes, for inspiration. So we all know the traditional Yule log. It's covered in chocolate frosting, surrounded by a marzipan forest. It has little meringue mushrooms all over it. Now, what if we took that cake and literally stood it on its head? What would that look like? Let's go check it out. All right, so what I got here is I got 5 8-inch pumpkin chocolate chip cakes. Now these don't have to be perfect, right? This isn't like a wedding cake where it's got to be this like straight up and down, absolutely perfect column of cake. We're just taking off the domed edge. This is a beurre noisette buttercream. Beurre noisette is a brown butter. Brown butter is made by caramelizing butter. Now you don't want to put too much buttercream in between layers, just enough to make it stick. A cake wheel is actually a really useful item. A cake wheel creates economy of movement, so you can do this really quickly. I don't want to carve on this little guy. I want to carve on here. So I'm going to take this, I'll flip it over. Now I'm going to carve this thing and I'm just going to kind of give it sort of a stumpy shape. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve in and then back out. Take your time with this. Make sure your cakes are nice and cold. You don't want them frozen. It's really difficult to carve. But you also don't want them like room temperature either, because then the cake isn't going to hold itself together. You want your cakes like cold, like refrigerated. And here's the base. And take a little tiny bit of buttercream. You only need a touch. You want just enough to make it sticky. Pick this cake up. Just do it with your hands. It's so much easier than try to do this with a spatula. Boom. All right, so now it's time to make the roots for this stump. All right, so I got some white fondant here. Here's a little bit of cornstarch. Get the cornstarch right on the blade, just like that. Then cut straight through. On the flat side, put a little bit of water. Okay, so the roots are on. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the cut part of the stump, so the top part. All right, so I got some buttercream, spatula, I got some fondant, with this guy on it. I'm gonna take a little bit of this buttercream. Now this part, just wanna make sure we cover the top really nice. Nice even layer. We're gonna do the top. We're gonna do the rings. Okay, so we're gonna find the middle here. So you wanna be a little rough with this, right? These are fondant tools. Same thing you find in like a ceramic store. And you really want these rings to look like it looks in nature. We got the rings on the stump. This is my friend Tim. He's an amazing sculptor, and he's actually gonna do the bark and put a face on this stump. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting buttercream all over the cake. Tim's gonna be mashing up modeling chocolate and be sticking strips of it on here. You can turn that into bark and then eventually into a face. Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so I got the stump is all covered. It's all nice and sticky. It's ready for Tim. Now you just kind of get out of his way and he does his thing. It's pretty amazing. Watch this. What he's doing right now, Tim is creating texture on the bark. And so when he lays this on, this tree is really gonna look weathered. You know, the tree's really gonna look weathered. It's gonna look natural. It's not gonna look like, you know, something you bought in a toy store.
Yeah, I don't want it to look like this thing was just sawed. I want it to look like it's been weathered and old.
The cool thing about modeling chocolate is that you can keep playing with it. You know, you can mash this stuff up, try it out. If it doesn't work, you can peel it off and you can do it again. So Tim's really building on my idea. So I like put some roots down, right? And now Tim's like, okay, yeah, cute roots. Let me make them amazing. So what Tim is doing is he's really camouflaging, he's hiding that seam, that point where one piece of modeling chocolate meets the other. This is a really good Yule stump, right? This thing looks great. We got some cool roots on there. It's got a lot of texture. It really does look like an awesome stump. You could paint this thing as it is right now and it would be absolutely fantastic. What's really gonna take this to the next level is Tim's gonna make a face. With modeling chocolate, it's a little bit different because you have to get the surface really, really sticky. Fondant, it's really easy to make one piece of fondant stick to another, but when you're putting chocolate on chocolate, it's really kind of difficult. Okay, so now the face is done. Tim is now gonna paint the whole stump. That is a Yule stump.
What do you think?
He's got a face.
I think that's fun. I start putting some leaves on it?
Yeah, let's do it. So I made some leaves out of rolled fondant. One last touch and this cake will be done. I'm gonna wrap a ribbon around the whole base. So what I did was, before I did anything, put a piece of double-sided tape down here. Now what I'm gonna do is peel off the tape, add the ribbon, and the cake will be finished. All right, Tim.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank
Thanks,
you,
man.
Duff.
All right, so there it is. It's not just a Yule log, it's a Yule stump. It's got a face, it's got leaves, it's got texture. It really, really looks like a tree. If you can't get enough baking during the holidays, go to foodnetwork.com/holidaybakers to watch my video series and check out all my tips and tricks to make your holidays the sweetest ever.